Donk Nation, Jackson Jennets, greetings and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk. Little bit of trouble here getting everybody on the same page, so it's just me tonight bringing you prep for the Steelers versus Colts game. This is following a tragic loss to the New England Patriots. And let me just phrase it this way. I don't know what you want to say. The bright side is the Steelers are playing football still that matters. But losing back-to-back home games against 2-10 football teams is unexcusable when you're a team not in a rebuild. And the Steelers, there is no way they're a team in the rebuild. They have the second highest cap number this year behind only the Kansas City Chiefs. That's Ben Roethlisberger's already off the cap, so that's not including the turnaround from Ben. This is a team that has spent money everywhere on that defense, and to give up 21 points to a New England team that has only scored more than 21 points twice this year. Not only that, they did it in a half of football. You have a backup quarterback who's your fifth highest paid player on offense, who comes in and just can't get the job done, is throwing more balls to the other team than his own team. You have wide receivers quitting on routes. I mean, you could argue that the interception that actually was caught by New England, you can blame Freiermuth for that, for not running his route all the way through. It's a hard state right now to be a Steelers fan and believe that the positives are what they are. I mean, you hear the pregame thing, Mika talk about, we're the best defense in the world, let's go out and show it. This is a dude who's had 0-0-0 where it matters this year. 0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries. He is the second highest paid safety in football, and Trenton Thompson, a practice squatter, has come out here and made more turnovers than him. This is just the type of thing that can't happen. The leadership on this team is non-existent. The coaching on this team seems to be subpar at best. I'm telling you right now, Darth Hoodie could out-coach Mike Tomlin with any college team you want to pick. That dude knows how to beat him. The problems have been the same for 5-6 years. Can't cover running backs in the passing game. You can run it down the middle. And the Steelers don't cover tight ends. What a big surprise. That's what beat them. They don't throw the ball, which most teams who are good in the red zone are successful because they throw the ball in the red zone. The Steelers run the ball like 60% of the time and still can't run it effectively. They're a running football team that can't gain a yard in an era where football benefits the passing game. It's just, I don't know. And then I have to listen to the media talk about, you really think you want to move on from Mike Tomlin, huh? Mike Tomlin, who's never had anything but winning regular seasons. First off, let's clarify something there, media people. Mike Tomlin has not had a non-losing season. It's not winning, it's non-losing. And that's how Mike Tomlin coaches football. He doesn't coach winning football, he coaches football not to lose. Look at what this team has done since he's been in charge of the type of players coming in. And you say what you want, but a coach gets a huge influence in his players. Look at what Mike Tomlin's success ratio, specifically the playoffs, have been since he's had year 4, the second Super Bowl appearance. Look at that. 3 wins? Come on now. That's not the Steeler way. That's not acceptable football. But that's what Tomlin says it is. This is a coach who's 8-9 in the playoffs since he's been here. The Steelers are the 10th best football team playoff-wise since Mike Tomlin's taken over. I know you want to tell me he's a Hall of Famer, but that means there were 9 other coaches, or at least 9 other franchises, that during his tenure had more playoff wins than him. I know this record's great, but at the end of the day, this is not what it should be. You have the highest paid defense. You can't go out and put up a performance like that. You want to say the Steelers' way? The Steelers' way died a long time ago. No one on this team, outside of Mike Tomlin, has been around for a Super Bowl win. Not Cam Hayward, not Minka Fitzpatrick, and I don't know what we can really even say anymore. He goes, next man up, they need to play better. Man, next man up's what you've been saying since Ryan Shazier got hurt, and we still don't have a middle linebacker who can cover a tight end. Like, this is getting ridiculous. You want to talk about the standard is the standard, then why has our special teams that's never ranked above 20th in terms of yards produced in field position and all that, why has that guy been a coordinator for 10 years in Danny Smith? What is the standard? Being subpar? You have the highest paid defense in the league by $10 million. They're barely a top 10 unit when it comes to scoring. They're not even top 10 anymore when it comes to sacks. They're barely top 10 when it comes to turnover. And they're 21st in the league when it comes to yards. I mean, yes, the Steelers are still in it. And this is when I expect them to go off and have a great rally. But these back-to-back losses going into the New England thing cannot be acceptable. I mean, we've been hearing Tomlinisms for so damn long that my wife can now quote them and uses them as jokes because it just doesn't work. He talks about doing the routine things routinely. That's what we like about Mason Cole, and we're out ahead of it. The dude's been snapping the ball all year terribly. What are you talking about, the routine things routinely? He doesn't do it. There's no accountability. Wide receivers are quitting on their routes. Instead, they get coddled. Yeah, that's not acceptable. Yeah, you were there having a good conversation and laughing with George Pickens on the sideline after he threw a big baby tantrum and lost us the game with effort, because that's what I'm going to say is this game was lost because, one, Darth Hoodie always outcoaches Tomlin, but two, this team gave no effort. I mean, you put on that film and show me where the effort was. You put on that film and show me where the care was. I mean, we have to get an interception and a blocked punt to set this offense up to score anything. And no, the defense doesn't get off the hook because they get just driven down their throat the whole first half by Bailey Zappe, who threw more touchdowns this game than he has in his whole career. This stuff is... It makes me think of Remember the Titans and the early season thing where the guy goes up and he's like, attitude reflects leadership, sir. And that's what it is. The leadership doesn't give a hoot. It's reflecting in the players. I don't know if we can throw the GM under the bus here too, because let's be honest here. We made Alex Highsmith the 12th highest paid pass rusher. The dude has 6 sacks. That's good for 42nd in the league. This dude's playing opposite TJ Watt, so he should be getting single teamed all the time. The 12th highest paid pass rusher in the league per average value right now in terms of edge rushers. Can't get the job done. TJ Watt's getting the job done, but let's look at the other high-paid, high-profile free agents this defense has. Patrick Peterson, a shell of himself, getting paid as much as Cam Sutton is, not doing anything. Minkah Fitzpatrick, second highest paid safety in the league. No turnovers for us this year. Cam Hayward, I love the man. He sets a good edge, but he really hasn't done much this year. How about Larry Ogunjobi? We showed out a lot of money to keep this guy because it's the Steelers' way to keep your own. What has he done? I give you a hint. Nothing. How about the offensive side of the ball? Chuck Secor, for our second highest paid guy, benched. Deontay Johnson doesn't give effort. Highest paid guy. Third and fourth highest paid guys, Mitch Trubisky, a backup. Mason Cole, geez, enough said. James Daniels ranked up there in the top guys. He's been below average. I mean, what in the world can you say about this team? We bring in a bunch of guys who are supposed to be huge upgrades, and they all take a step back in their playing career. Offensive side, Isaac Seumalo, not near as good as he was with Philly. James Daniels, not near as good as he was with Chicago. Hell, Mason Cole, when he stepped in and played better for Minnesota than he has as a Steeler. Allen Robinson, does that dude even exist? Mitch Trubisky, he was brought in to be the starter. Dude can't even play up to his Chicago levels 3 years later, hasn't learned anything. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. If we're judging off this season, man, Minkah looks terrible, and there's no other word for it. How about DeMonte Casey? He led the league in interceptions when he was in Atlanta. Comes here, doesn't do anything. Keanu Neal looks absolutely lost. Larry Ogunjobi, that dude's getting paid a bunch of money to stand there and do nothing. Levi Wallace looked like a really good third corner in Buffalo. Comes here, and he might be the worst corner I've ever seen this year. We want to talk about this. The players are allegedly there, yet they're not giving effort. The highest paid defense in the league is barely a top 10 defense, and that's if you squint at it and say only points matter. It's a hard team to watch. There's no other way to put it. This team still has a really good chance, and that's what makes it even more frustrating. Is if this team had any semblance of being a good team, of being able to put it together, they have a chance at a legitimate run in the playoffs. There's not a good team in the AFC unless you want to argue Baltimore. And we've already beat them. I mean, Kansas City's shown major flaws. Miami has major flaws. Buffalo has major flaws. Cleveland and Cincinnati are without quarterbacks. Denver, I guess they're rising up, but they have major flaws on that defense. This was not the year to have this happen. And to me, this has to fall on coaching and GM. Either the GM didn't bring in enough talented players because we spent the dang money, dude. You look at it, we spent the dang money to be a good team, and it's just not happening. Or we have to look at the coaching and say these coaches are not putting players in a position to win. And I think that's what it is. Because what Mike Tomlin says every time, and it drives me bananas, is it's next man up. We run our plays. We don't play to the other team. We play to what we do. But what we do is bad, and you need to cater your game plan to the other team. And you really need to cater your game plan so dang Michael Walker is not out there trying to cover the best receiving option in back-to-back weeks, which is the tight ends on these teams in Arizona and New England. And it's mind-numbingly ridiculous how we see what the NFL offense is now, how this is a league that caters to passing offenses. Look at all the good offenses. And look what happens with the Steelers. We're just going to run until we get to a one-score game and pray to God the flukes go our way. Well, this is what happens when you play a game of variance. When you play to only be good at variance, you're going to lose to 2-10 football teams who outplay you in the variance game. It's what happens. It's annoying. But let's get on to Indianapolis. Indianapolis could be without their running back this week. But Zach Moss has been amazing this year, so I don't know if them not having Taylor is a good thing or a bad thing for the Steelers. I think they're also going to be without the right tackle, which should be huge for TJ. But I don't know. I feel this is the week the Steelers come out and put up finally a dominating performance because everybody has written them off, and that tends to be the way these teams act. But I don't know. This team could very well also do a LA Chargers like they just gave up on Stanley. That could be what happens here. This team could have given up on Tomlin. I don't know. I mean, I saw players not giving effort last week. I see Tomlin not holding accountable the lack of effort, at least not publicly. And that's the thing. We've seen this blow up in his face before with LeGarrette Blount, with Antonio Brown, with all those type of characters that he let get away with it and tried to protect them by not throwing them out, not doing this, coddling them like we see with George Pickens. This has a really blatant way to backfire. And I mean, George Pickens is a zero responsibility guy. You didn't hear his comments this week. He's out there saying things like, oh yeah, George is going to do what George does. George is going to get open. Yeah, no you don't, dude. Put on the tape and tell me when the heck you get open. Like twice a week, and then you throw a tantrum when you don't get the ball on the 2 times you actually get open. I get it. But why don't we talk about you dropping a touchdown that was huge a couple 3-4 weeks ago? This team is driving me bananas. This defense needs to play better. This offense needs to play better. These special teams need to play better. I mean, you want to talk about the standard. How long is Presley Harvin going to be allowed to be the worst punter in the league and we not do a thing about it? It is what it is. Let's get on Pittsburgh versus Indianapolis. This is both the Colts franchise, so it goes back to when they're in Baltimore. The Steelers all-time are 27-6 on the road, which is what matters. We're 10-4. The biggest win was the Steelers by 42 points in 1985, 45-3. The Colts' biggest win was as Baltimore in 1968 by 34, 41-37 was the score. The longest winning streak was Pittsburgh had 9-gamer from 85-02, which we can tie with this game. And Baltimore had a 2-game winning streak from 68-71. The current streak, the Steelers are on an 8-game winning streak that dates back to 2011. The last meeting was November 28th of 2022 is a 24-17 win by the Steelers. 2008 would be the last win for the Colts. A lot of the same matchups we're going to talk about again. This is a team that, unlike New England, much like Arizona, has a really subpar defense, a really exploitable defense, a team that has been in shootouts left and shootouts right Gardner Minshew's been out there lighting it up with the wide receivers they have here in Indianapolis, and it just feels like a matchup the Steelers should have pretty handily based off the type of roster they have. But we all know how that works. I mean, I don't know what to say. Mike Tomlin's out here congratulating Mitch Trubisky for the way he stood in there when he was playing crappy football, and the fans wanted to see Mason because we've seen enough crappy football out of Mitch both this year and last year to know it's not what we want to see. But it's okay because he stuck in there and he showed true grit. I tell you, that dude is a baller. That's what he showed. Okay. Mitch Trubisky is the backup for a reason, all right? I mean, he is the fourth highest paid player on this team, and I'll tell you right now, he should be performing a lot better than he is with his money he's been given. And I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. We're going to go ahead. We're going to say they signed Mitch to be a starter. It didn't work out. So they moved him to backup, and it's not really working out. And the standard is the standard, but the standard is we're going to play whoever the heck the coach likes because the better player doesn't matter. I mean, we're playing from behind. Jalen Warren's still less snaps than Najee Harris. It doesn't matter who you are. Deontay Johnson quits on plays. He's still going to play every snap. George Pickens quits. He's still going to play on snaps. Heck, Pat Freiermuth and Washington are out there getting called up by Merrill Hodge looking like they're a couple turtles humping. That's how bad their run blocking is. It don't matter. They're going to play. I mean, Chuck Okorafor, the only reason he got benched wasn't because of how bad his play was. It's because he dared to criticize the play calling of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the way they were playing football. I mean, that man spoke the truth, so he's going to get benched. Because we all have been talking about how Broderick Jones should have been starting over Dan Moore for weeks. Only reason Broderick Jones became the starter? Because Chuck Okorafor said something the team didn't like. And the standard is the standard. And as Mike Tomlin says, he doesn't want hostages. He wants volunteers. Well, I am tired of it. This is time the Steelers need to put up or shut up. This game against Indy is everything on the line as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, it's not just everything on the line for this game. This team needs to make the playoffs and be competitive, if not win a playoff game, in my opinion, for Mike Tomlin to show he deserves another year here. And I'm not saying Mike Tomlin's not a good coach. The dude probably is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I've been a huge supporter of him for a long time. The last 3 years, though, I have soured because he gives the same message, the team shows the same problems, and this team never seems prepared for a big game. An important game. This team just doesn't seem prepared with Tomlin. I mean, you're talking 3 playoff wins in the past decade, 2 of which were against backup quarterbacks, and 1 was Alex Smith kicking field goals only, the Steelers did, to beat Alex Smith before he got replaced. I don't know. This needs to be a team that has something good going forward. This needs to be a team that if you're going to be the highest paid defense in the league, you have to be able to shut someone down. And that's not what they do. And we're going to complain about injuries. Blah, 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 blah. We've had TJ Watt, the superstar of this team, playing the whole damn year. We've had an offense that hasn't done anything all year. Again, I mean, what should we expect against Indy? We've seen backup quarterbacks come in and light it up. Look at what Joe Flacco's doing for Cleveland. Look at what Browning's doing in Cincinnati. Hell, look at what Gardner Minshew's doing in Indianapolis. These are 3 backup quarterbacks with their team in playoff positions. It's not like it's impossible. And not to mention, the Steelers have, I think, the highest paid backup quarterback in football. Shouldn't we be getting some of this production? Hell, with our starter, shouldn't we have been getting some of this production? The schemes we do are so old, everyone knows what's coming. Oh, there's going to be a power run. Jalen Warren's in. It's going to be a toss play. Oh, Jalen Warren's in. We're going to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, we're going to let Mitch throw the ball into triple coverage. That's the Steelers' offense right now. It's lame. It's pathetic. And let's talk about the Steelers' defense. Up 3rd and 7, we're going to sit in a zone that the closest guy is 10 yards back to give them a free first down. As long as they're willing to take what they're given, the Steelers' defense will not stop them. And that's just where we are. This is This is a team that optically is bad, but this is a team that's going to keep Mike Tomlin's winning record alive. I have this funny feeling we win the next 2 weeks, and then we lose the last two. We miss the playoffs, and then we get what mediocrity gets you, which is nothing. Because you need a top 10 draft pick, normally top 5, top 8, in order to get one of them game-changing players like a Devin White. Otherwise, you end up with Devin Bush. But the Steelers, I'll tell you what mediocrity has got us. It has got us no top draft picks because guess what? We're too good to get those top 10 draft picks. We have to trade up if we want to do that. And then we miss on that. Good job, Colbert, by drafting Devin Bush. I mean, what Kevin Colbert did the last 5 years was horrendous in terms of this. And I know you can say, but we've been winning football games. Yeah, ugly. Historically ugly, which is the way the Steelers have won historically. So neither here nor there. But this was a sad, sad state right now. I'm really sad I don't have Laskers or Gingy here to get into this because I don't know. I wish there was good things to say. I just don't see it. These back-to-back losses, there wasn't even effort. I don't know how you say good things about a team when the coaching has been subpar for a long time. Now, I get that. We don't hire good coordinators. But at the end of the day, we don't even have a staff the size of normal staffs. This is just a team that wants to do it a way that doesn't make sense. And we're stuck in it because it's the Steelers' way. What is the Steelers' way? Because I'll tell you right now, all the former players I hear talking say this is not Steelers football. This is not the Steeler way. Yet everyone in the locker room says this is the Steeler way. We're not worried. We're doing what we need to do. Well, okay. I really, really hope that this will be a blowout loss. I'll never root against the Steelers, so it's hard to say. In the game, I'm going to cheer for them. I'm going to want them to win. But I kind of wish this would be a blowout loss like the Chargers had to make you realize, man, we need to do something different. I mean, New England has realized they need to do something different. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin can't go somewhere else and be successful. I think he can. But I don't know if it's here. I think his message has gotten sour here, and I think he needs to go somewhere where he doesn't have control of who his staff is. Because you need to hire someone that's willing to challenge him. It's no coincidence the last 2 times the Steelers really had good offenses was with Ben Roethlisberger and Todd Haley, both really big personalities, who I'm sure didn't let Mike Tomlin run them over. And before that, Bruce Arians. It's just... I don't know what the Steelers are going to do going forward. I really, really, really think this is a game where they go out and they make the Tomlin thing that saves Tomlin, and then they do it again the next week, and then they lose 2 and miss the playoffs. I feel 9-8, miss the playoffs is what's going to happen, and Tomlin's going to keep his job, and I'm going to be here this time next year, pre-Christmas, talking about the same damn shenanigans that I have the last 3 years, but... that's neither here nor there. The Colts game, like I said, they're a very sus defense on that side. I mean, guys like DeForest Buckner are still there on the defensive side. He's an absolute monster still. Could slow down this running game by himself with the fact that Mason Cole's had such troubles. Maybe we see more Trubisky running, and that can open things up. But I don't know if I trust the Steelers and Trubisky to get into a shootout, and that's what Indy's going to try to do. They're going to try to get going, try to use some of these receivers they got, and just try to make the Steelers feel a little bit of pressure. I mean, when you look at guys out there, I know they don't have Taylor, but Zach Moss is at 4 yards a carry. He's actually been doing better than Jonathan Taylor. You got Minshew out there just yuck it, chuck it football that he always likes to play. You got guys like Pittman Jr., who's a matchup nightmare. Josh Downs, who's having a good year. I mean, it's just the type of team that seems low. But then you know darn good and well that wouldn't happen. Sorry, I had to say hello there because my headset decided to die on me. You're looking at guys like Kwity Payne, Ekabuman on the defensive line, good pass rushers, have a lot of sacks. Rodney Harrison Jr., I think he was hurt. But, I mean, you're talking, again, a defense we should take advantage of. Don't know what's going to happen. I do have picks from Laskers for this week. We do have a few other games out there. We have the Bengals taking on Minnesota. We have the Browns taking on Chicago. And we have the Ravens playing the Jaguars. Ginger didn't give me his picks. I'll try to get him before the games to see how it's going. Let's get into the picks. So Laskers went out and he likes the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens. I also like the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens. He likes the Colts 20-12 with the X Factor George Pickens. I like the Colts to win this game 28-21. And my X Factor is going to be Pittman. It's just the Steelers never stop the guy they should stop, I feel. I feel like Pittman's going to have a good day. I feel like saying all this negative stuff, bringing up all this negative stuff, hopefully will give the Steelers a go for it. I'm going to get into shout-outs. My shout-out this week will be Juju. Welcome back to Pittsburgh, and welcome to being the second straight person to come back and kick our butts. It was so fun to be a part of that. Highly joking on that, by the way. Without that, I really don't have anything else. I mean, there's some fun stuff going on in the NFL. The absolute crying the Chiefs are doing because the refs made the right call. And more importantly, even if he wasn't offsides, Jawan Taylor should have got called for an illegal formation because he's again lining up like 8 yards in the backfield because the dude can't keep up with speed rushers. But that's neither here nor there. I hope everyone has a great week. I hope the Steelers get it done. I hope you get to see this before the game. And I hope if you don't, that my rant is so much funnier because I did this rant and I told you this just feels like a game the Steelers win. And then I don't pick them because, well, I pick them, they probably would lose. So I'm hoping for the reverse jinx here. But who knows what's going to happen. I'm going to let you know I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger's YouTube channel where you get all this fun content. Hopefully everything runs a little better next week. Donk Nation, Jackson Jennings, love y'all. Let us know how we're doing. Wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.